very ambitious, and so how did that affect my personal life? I would say I wasn't going out like all my other friends. I was extremely focused and disciplined into building a routine, um, watching the pros do it. Like your favorite players, like Tom Brady, has a really great routine of discipline and dedication, and just watching your favorite athletes and see how they did it, like what is their secret to success, and just trying to implement that in my daily routine, see what works for me. And it was really time consuming, I would say, and I didn't go out much. I had just my closest friends, but even them I didn't see much because I was always working out, training, on the road, doing international camps and games and everything. So it had a pretty big toll on like my personal life, I would say.
Another thing I was going to ask to go along with that is, what was your favorite athlete, or who was the athlete that inspired you growing up? It could be any athlete, doesn't have to be American football necessarily.
So as a kid watching soccer, I would like my favorite Belgian soccer player would be Dries Mertens. He's from here, Leuven, of course. And for football, I probably would say Julian Edelman. Like I think the the way, like how he got to the NFL is just amazing. His dedication, his work ethic, being I kind of related to him. Like he in this like in the football life of Julian Edelman, he kind of explained like he was kind of late hitting puberty, and all the other kids was bigger than him, and faster, more athletic than him, and so he was always this underdog. And I really felt a similar kind of pressure and in doing all these international camps and trying to make it in football. And so Julian Edelman probably was really the athlete I really looked up to the most.
Looking back on it now, I just feel like it's one of those decisions that you don't really think about, but it's been truly one of like a blessing, because now here we are all these years later, and we got to shoot a film in Egypt. We got to shoot a film in Egypt, which for both of us I think is such a big accomplishment. So I'm really curious to know your thought process and your feelings surrounding this project before we shot it, and when we were shooting it, and then of course afterwards.
Okay, so this is gonna be a long question.
Take your time.
I think before shooting, we were talking about actually you coming to visit me here in my hometown, but I remember you saying like, what if we went to fucking Egypt, right? And I was like, why not? Let's just do that. And all of a sudden you say like, I actually have this great idea for a short film to shoot in Egypt. So and the first drafts of the script and the screenplay you send me, I think like before, like prior going to Egypt, the script had changed. Like I just saw it evolve. Like every time, like it got bigger and it changed a bit, where it wasn't really just a story about this guy running away from his problems and not knowing who, like trying to find himself. I guess it became like this, also a kind of romantic, I don't know, like not romantic, but like there's some kind of deeper emotional side to it, where with his girlfriend that he left, I guess. And then during while we were in Egypt, like this is the first time in Cairo for all of us, trying to figure out how to film certain shots we had come up with before we got there. Was really a difficult process because everything's new. There's a lot of obstacles, I would say, that kind of made us relook the whole script and change a few things. Where while we were filming this, and it was non-chronologically filmed, so it was really hard for me personally as an actor to try and get into my role sometimes, because we would like set up like the whole scene, like, oh, okay, let's shoot right now, right here, this scene, and then you gotta kind of get into character, which was really sometimes really hard to do. And then like we only have like 30 minutes to shoot before like it's darker before this, and then we gotta go and do this other shot, and so it was really moving around. Like we had to move around a lot, which but it was a really cool experience in sense where we got to see all these new places, these interesting, beautiful places, meet these interesting people.
You know, these type of movies, they take time because, you know, they're very personal, not only to myself but to you as well. You know, that's something I think we have a shared experience of self-doubt, even like self-pity, and not fully realizing who will we become and who we're going to be. And then, you know, in a sense, you know, running away and going to the other side of the world, for example, doesn't necessarily heal you. You know, it doesn't solve your problem. So from your perspective, how have you in your own life personally dealt with these hard obstacles in your life and overcome them?
Honestly, you know, overcoming anything like that where you're struggling emotionally, trying to find yourself, where you're kind of lost, and it's really hard to start somewhere because you find yourself busy looking for something that tells you who you are, right? And the longer it takes to where you don't find what you're looking for, the harder it gets. And for me, I found that trying to figure out my safe spaces, places where could be people, could be a certain place, could be anything that makes you feel safe and comfortable, where you don't, where you're completely comfortable with your surroundings and everything, where you don't get distracted, and where you can focus on yourself. What is really important to me? Finding my safe spaces, and then doing some self-reflecting thinking of like what is really important to me, what drives me, what do I really want in life. And this is not about materialistic things. It's about values. It's about things you want for yourself in life. How do I want to feel? Like if I picture myself in 10 years having all this and doing this, how would I feel if I didn't have this or that? Taking away things and adding things to kind of figure out what is really important to me. And so once I kind of got a clue of what was really important to me and what I really wanted in life, I guess I was able to start building on myself and focus on myself and improve myself as a person. And it's a learning process. It's every day. You get 1% better every day. And so, yeah, just trying to find your safe space and figure out what's really important to you, yourself, and trying to find what you're all about and what you want, who you want to be. Who do you look up to? Would you look up to the guy, if you picture yourself having all this and that in the future, would you look up to that guy? What would that guy do? How would he behave right now? Because I believe in the law of attraction, in doing, if you're acting the way you're supposed to act as a person you want to be, then normally you'll make the right decisions to become that person. So I believe I'm big on that belief. So
Yeah, I would say the same thing too. I think, again, we have a lot of shared experiences and different struggles and different just life expectations. And I think even for me personally, I've always held myself to a very high standard and a very high expectation of wanting greatness and wanting certain things to happen in a specific way. And so then when those expectations don't meet, you know, it's hurtful, you know, it hurts, right? And so I think having to roll with the punches and understand that life is never going to be perfect, or it's never going to go in the exact way you want it to, but understanding that it happens for a reason is like super, super important. So I'm curious to know, when, you know, you continue this acting journey, in any which way, whether it's coming to LA to shoot short films or maybe even acting in something here, how do you want to continue to build yourself and carry yourself as an actor in these next 10 years, as you said, or even less, 5 years, right?
So I would say I really want to do stuff that I'm 100% where I can get 100% behind, right? Where I'm really like, okay, this is really something I believe in. This is something, and I don't care about the big picture, the big money, the big, all the big hoopla
As
and,
nice
and
as
marketing
it will
stuff.
be,
As nice as it would be, I honestly I think I've established I know for a fact for myself that I would get more happiness doing something that I really like, something that I really believe in, instead of doing something that like for me it's kind of like selling your soul. Like you're going for the big money, doing something you don't necessarily really believe in, that is contradictory to your own personal values or what you stand for or who you are as a person, just because of the money or the fame you will get from it. And that's something I really figured out from within, is that actually that I'm pretty sure that wouldn't make me happy, and so I'm not looking for anything like that. If I'm looking at my acting career in the future, it could be anything as long as I'm doing what I love. It could be it could be really small. It could even be not a career, right, in acting, but just be happy in life. Love and happiness. That's all I need. And just being able to do what I love. If I can really get behind the project and believe in it 100%, then I'll be happy.
I love that response, and I kind of want to bring that back to Egypt, actually, because I think not only this film, but this experience that me, you, and Christian had was life-changing, as we have talked about and we know. So I'm curious, for you, how did that trip, not necessarily the short film we shot, but just the being in Cairo, being in Giza, being in all these places, seeing, understanding, really soaking it in, how did that change your perspective on the country, on life, just that kind of thing?
The country as in Egypt? I mean, it's the first time it was the first time for me being in a country like Egypt, being in the country is in a bad situation, I would say, for its people. There is some corruption within the government. Of course, we don't know the whole picture. We've seen beautiful, beautiful places there. We've seen horrible, we've seen the horrible side of it. I've talked to some people when I was out alone taking pictures and stuff. It's interesting. It's always interesting to hear people's stories there. Life changing, I would say, just my perspective on there's always two sides to every story, and I don't know if it was really life changing in that matter, but I think I've learned a lot about that culture, I would say, and seeing their point of view, like the two sides to a story. I mean, I'm European. We have it like pretty well here, I guess, and it's completely different there. And so hearing their point of view is on Western society or on their own society is really interesting to me. I learned a lot about that experience. Also, movie making wise, like it's the first time filming a short film abroad. I think we all learned a lot about next time if we ever make a short film in another country with like beautiful places to shoot and everything, and I think we've learned a lot to improve ourselves if we ever do something like that again. So I really like the experience. As long as I learn something new, as long as I get to experience something new and interesting, like a new culture could be a story, could be the sightseeing, could be the technical aspects of making a movie abroad, right? So I learned a lot on that trip, and that's probably what changed my perspective on a certain way of life right now.
And I think we both can agree that there are a lot of very kind-hearted, decent people in that area that
Shout out
in
to Mohammed Saeed.
shout out to Muhammad Saeed if you're watching this. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like a lot of those people have been kind of torn down in regards to their soul by the world that they live in, you know, by the government that is corrupted and has controlled them with fear.
I would say it's not my place to say what I would do if I were in that situation, because I don't think I could ever understand their situation. What I would say is that I do think like what I really admire though is the kids that I talked to, and Mohammed Saeed, one of the guys that showed me his house that got torn apart by the government, and he was just like thrown out on the street like trash. And he told me his story because he thought I was a journalist taking photos there. Yeah, it's just a very touching story of these people. And Mohammed Said was an older guy, so he had lived through various regimes of corruption, and then also better times. He has known better times than now, and it was really interesting to see his mindset on it. And he kept a positive mindset, and he wanted to get his story out there. And talking to some of the kids that were born into the situation, I mean, just looking at their positivity. I mean, they're just really optimistic. They go to school, they learn English. They were eager to show me around, and just they were like making faces, making jokes, being funny and everything. So I think that's something I really admire out of those people, and I think I can't really say how I would react if I were in that situation. So I'm just gonna say that I really admire those people being in that situation.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to jump in, and I totally understand, because that is a very hard question to answer, because obviously, you know, there's just a certain upbringing that we both have had and that we're both very grateful for and very blessed to have, that unfortunately, you know, not everyone shares, you know, with us. So I think that really trying to put ourselves in their shoes gives us, humbles us, you know, in some way, shape, or form.